Senator Delano Seiveright, welcome to Profile.
Thank you, Archie, and thank you to your many viewers.
Wonderful story, and I'll share the Cliff Notes version of it before we get into the details. So, Senator, as I said before, raised in Simmons Park, West Central St. Andrew, only boy with 4 sisters, mother migrating when you were 6, excelled at Calabar High, later degrees from the University of the West Indies and the University of London, entered politics very early, youth leader at UWI, key role in the 2007 election campaign, and I want to talk about that. Youngest president of Generation 2000, the young professional arm of the Jamaica Labour Party, senior advisor to Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett, and you helped drive record growth, and you're appointed Senator and Minister of State for Tourism in 2025.
Yeah. All right, I guess that's the story, so I can leave now.
And also, Father, no, that's just the Cliff Notes version because there's so much more.
Yes, yes.
People see you and they certainly in the last year, the last 2 years, a lot of the work in relation to tourism,
yes,
and see you on the ground and all of that, but don't know the backstory. But let's start with Simmons Park and the upbringing and the people who were raising you.
Yeah. So born in the mid-1980s at St. Joseph's Hospital. My mom, Margaret Seiveright, dad, Sylvester Seiveright. Mom was a factory worker. I believe at one point she worked at thermoplastics. And I think while she was pregnant with me, there are friends who have, some of them who I see to this day, who say, they used to call me the plastic baby because my mom was working at the factory at the time. And my dad, of course, worked with Paper Processors Limited for many years, and which eventually changed over into Jamaica Packaging Limited, and he became a supervisor and everything there. And we grew up pretty much, pretty humble life. Started off, I think, in Washington Gardens, ended up in Linstead for 1 year, which is a weird gap, and then ended up in Simmons Park off Seaward Drive.
Let's talk about your parents now, what mom and dad were like.
Yeah, so they are very reserved people, sort of, especially my dad. Mom is a bit more out there, so I think that's why my mom decided to migrate, because she wanted a better life for all of us. It was 5 of us. My dad is a bit more humble, a bit more reserved. She decided to just go on and take on some new opportunities, and eventually we grew up very sheltered lives. We were not allowed out of the house much, or if we went out of the house, it was to church, or it was to specific events and activities related to school or something like that. Eventually, of course, challenging times, mom decided to migrate, and eventually I think that helped us because that was an additional income to my dad's income. And so we're able to live a good life in terms of always having food, always being okay, going to school, all of that was properly covered.
How were you processing your mother's migration? Because you're pretty young.
It was, I guess at the time, to me, it was okay. It was, I didn't feel impacted by it. Eventually, she started taking us up one by one. So my sisters, she took one, then another one. But I decided to stay because I just liked Jamaica. And, I guess I got comfortable. So I decided to stay. But all my other sisters left, and they all live in the United States to this day. I'm happy that she did it, though, because I think it gave us opportunity, it exposed us, so we were able to travel literally every summer.
You said disciplinarian. Were they also espousing the importance of discipline and, just, what were they saying? No,
they just disciplined you. So if you did something wrong, you get a beating. Not moderate at the time, I guess. But mom and dad were very serious about staying in school, studying, ensuring that you do your homework. You allowed your friendships, but limited exposure. I went to St. Mary's Basic School off Mullines Road by Drewsland. Then I ended up at Pembroke Hall Primary School for all of my primary school years, and then ended up at Calabar, and that was whilst living in Simmons Park and so on.
All right, so let's talk to me about Calabar now and
yes,
the development that happened there, because that was a place where you excelled.
Calabar was interesting. I think I was a regular student of sorts, but you learn lessons. Going to Calabar was a big school. I think the population of Calabar when I was there was probably over 1,600 students, right? And also it's a school that has some amount of diversity, but it's also, you learn how to be strong when you go to a school like Calabar, and I think I am happy I went there.
What do you mean?
Coming out of a sheltered space and then going into Calabar with that variety of let's just say talent. It's a good experience. I remember once, we was a part of the cadet corps. A bunch of us, we just got into first form at Calabar, and you hear these stories that you have to blow the light out. And I remember it actually happened. We're all in a class, and some big kids just came in the class. I think they were in fourth form or fifth form. And they just locked the grill and said, you, and everybody lined up, blow that light out. And coming out of Calabar really taught me a lot of things. Also, of course, that's when I got active in quite a number of different activities, right? Like, student government and that kind of stuff. And of course, eventually, school challenge quiz, tourism quiz, debating, that kind of thing. But also meeting people. I think that's where I ended up meeting PJ Patterson. Mm-hmm. I think I was in third or fourth form. And I got an opportunity to meet the Prime Minister of Jamaica, which was PJ Patterson. I think Barbara Gludon had a program and a hotline. And she wanted some young people to sit with PJ Patterson and talk about, things. And I got an opportunity to go to Vale Royal, sit with PJ Patterson. And I was the one that asked the question about Philip Powell. And I believe the Prime Minister Patterson's answer at the time was that it was youthful exuberance.
Oh, yes.
That was my first foray. That was my first foray into politics. I went to Vale Royal and asked the Prime Minister a tough question. I don't think some people are happy with the question because they were like, who is this kid asking the Prime Minister this question about Philip Powell? And I said, it was supposed to be a light interview. But PJ, I think, was impressed. He's a Calabar old boy himself. And he said, listen, he told his driver and his people, bring him back to Calabar High School. So I went in the official car that the Prime Minister had and went back to Calabar. And I felt good. I said, boy, I achieved a lot that day. So Calabar exposed me to the realities of life. Mm-hmm. One, but also give you an opportunity to meet a number of our Calabar old boys and past students who have excelled in varying fields, whether it's politics, medicine, law, business, and so on. And I think that melting pot contributed to my own development as a person. And
I want to talk about how that development would sort of accelerate when you went to UWI, and the irony of the fact that you met PJ Patterson, but your direction would take a completely different direction. But if we take our first break on Profile with Senator Delano Seiveright, we're back with you after these messages. Welcome back.